deal. Reports say it's, quote, a little more of a wait-and-see approach. And added it would not be a surprise if Baker's deal comes next offseason. Baker is taking it in stride, saying, quote, I'm not worried about it at all, because if we win, we're heading in the right direction. Okay, Bucky is back, but Acho, should Baker bet on himself and wait to sign his deal?
Yeah, Baker absolutely should bet on himself. And why? Because he's always bet on himself and he's always won. Going to high school, bets on himself. Out of high school, bets on himself. Goes to Texas Tech as a walk-on, starts at Texas Tech. Then he's like, you know what? Let me bet on myself. Let me transfer to Oklahoma. He transfers to Oklahoma, beats out my guy, Trevor Knight, the same Trevor Knight who Katy Perry was tweeting about because of how miraculous his performance was during a bowl game. Beats out Trevor Knight, wins the Heisman. Bets on himself, ends up being the #1 overall pick because he knows the Browns have the #1 overall pick, but he still says, draft me #1. I can change this franchise. Bets on himself in that way. They do take him #1 overall. He bets on himself again, and he does it his way. He's in countless commercials, more commercials than he has victories over his first couple years. Yeah. But then by season 3, everything changed come season 3. Because season 3, he has more wins than the Browns have seen since 2002. He has a playoff victory. Browns haven't seen that since 1994. Every time Baker Mayfield bets on himself, he wins. So he shouldn't listen to us sitting at the other edges of the table. He should just listen to himself, trust himself, and go ahead and bet on himself.
Yeah, Acho, I actually agree with you because I'm going to frame this much like you framed the Dallas Cowboys argument. Why wouldn't Baker bet on himself? He has the best running game at his disposal in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. He has 2 of the best wide receivers in the game in Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry. He has Austin Hooper, a tight end, who can absolutely ball. He's playing behind the best offensive line in football. I mean, anybody and everybody should be able to thrive in that environment. And since we give money to quarterbacks who win games, there's no way that the Cleveland Browns should lose a ton of games with the talent that is around them. So, yes, Baker should play this out, take this deal to term, because, I mean, if they lose with him at quarterback, he is going to be the one that they look to, but I don't expect them to lose. So, yes, take it to term, get the money. You get the money because of the team's success. Everybody wins in that scenario.
Yes, yes, yes. Total agreement. Always bet on yourself, but especially when you're being undervalued. Now, Baker Mayfield right now is being undervalued properly, but undervalued because he's inconsistent. So we know that Baker Mayfield needs to put together at least consecutive great years for us to respect him fully. That's how the game goes. They don't invest in inconsistency. They invest in the projection and trajectory that's going upward, your potential. So Baker Mayfield knows this. So he also knows that he's never been to a Pro Bowl. You think if he went to the Pro Bowl this year, his value wouldn't go up? Of course. He also knows he only has 1 winning season. You know, if you had more than one, that people wouldn't look at that one as just a fluke. Because as they say right here, once is a fluke, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern, and 4 times is a standard. Now, I ain't gonna wait that damn long till it becomes a standard. But I'm gonna get it out of the fluke conversation and go back-to-back great years. If Baker Mayfield can get his career record of winning higher than just 1 game over 500 this year, put some distance between it, now you got something special. But you got to understand that if you really want to know money, you got to study money. I heard Reverend Ike say this, old school pastor, who said, never talk about spending money or even earning money. He says circulate money. So in the circulation of money, I would like to know where the money's been and where the money's going. Okay. Damn, in the last 4 years, who's made the most money in the NFL? His name is Kirk Cousins. Did he bet on himself? Yes, he did. And in the next 3 years, who's going to make the most money? His name is Dak Prescott. No, not you, Patrick Mahomes. Damn, that was a bad deal. It's Dak Prescott. Oh, if it's Dak Prescott, did he bet on himself? Oh, yes, he did. So in this circulation of the money, I need to continue to circulate with it. In mindset, bet on yourself if you're Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, Sal. Now, there are several examples, let's not get it twisted, of guys who bet on themselves and lose. There are several guys who bet on themselves, hold out for a franchise tag. Franchise tag does not bode well in their favor. I've seen it plenty of times. Saw it with Jeremy Maclin, my old college teammate, Henry Melton, a defensive lineman. I saw it with him as well. However, if you're Baker, you got to realize the Browns can't really do no better than you. And while they might think they can, and Bucky, I'm glad you gave me that look. Bucky, I'll explain myself.
Yeah, you
the Browns, by nature of being in Cleveland, it's going to be hard for them to lure in off-season acquisitions at the quarterback position. That's what I'm getting at, Bucky. It's like, who are their notable quarterbacks in free agency? Tyrod Taylor, Jason Campbell, my dog RG3, Jeff Garcia, Trent Dilfer. You're not a quarterback that's a free agent and willingly going to Cleveland. It's just not happening. You can draft a quarterback, but Bucky, you know this even better than I. Hasn't really worked out for them in the draft. Tim Couch, didn't really work. He won a Heisman. He was great in college. Manziel, he won a Heisman. Didn't work for him. Colt McCoy, Heisman finalist 2 times. Didn't work great for him. Brandon Weeden, first-round pick, a mature first-round pick, came into the NFL at 28 years of age. Brady Quinn, first-round pick, didn't work for him. So, Bucky, while on paper it might be simple, well, sure, the Browns can upgrade over Baker. But historically, you're not getting no free agents, and you don't really do well in the draft. So Baker probably knows this. The Browns' ego may not allow them to realize this, but Baker knows, I'm the best thing that y'all have gotten since 1988 and 89 and Bernie Kosar. So if y'all can't find a quarterback, you're not going to find one better than me. I know if I bet on myself, I'm going to win because I know what's in the hand.
Okay, so I'm going to take both of you guys' arguments, and I'm kind of agreeing, but I want to point out something.
Yeah.
Marcellus brought up Kirk Cousins because Baker Mayfield falls in line with the guys that I've seen make a lot of money in this league who are right around where his talent level is. Kirk Cousins is 1, Jimmy Garoppolo is 2, and Jared Goff is 3. All of those guys made significant money in this league. All of these guys also have played in a system that's very similar to the one that Baker Mayfield played. So as long as Baker Mayfield has enough awareness to understand, look, the Cleveland Browns thing is the best thing that I have going. Because if I remove myself from this situation, I may be further exposed for not being able to do some of the things that the system and the talent around me mask my deficiency. So maybe I need to stay here. Maybe I continue to play this out. The leverage flips like it did in the Dak Prescott situation. And lo and behold, I find myself as a $40 million quarterback, whether my talent equates to that or not.
Interesting. Look, if I'm Baker Mayfield, it's simple. Let me be your agent for 5 minutes. I charge a lot per minute, but you can afford it. Baker Mayfield, we ain't getting paid right now because you don't want to get paid. And if you're Baker Mayfield, you need to think, don't pay me when I have the most interceptions in the NFL in the last 3 seasons, which he currently still has. Don't pay me when I'm ranked 30th in the NFL in completion percentage, which he was last year. Don't pay me when, this is bad, this is the inconsistency I'm talking about. Instances where he has 100-plus passer rating in back-to-back games. You know that only happened once 3 years ago? That never happened in 2019, and it happened twice last year. So we need to make sure that you're more consistent. It's all good. This takes me back to an intimate conversation I had with my teammate, Pat Williams, who I keep telling y'all was a better player than me. You can look it up, especially even in his first 3 years. They came to Pat early, got some money for you. Pat told me, because that was my roommate, my dog. I was like, Pat, don't take it. We are free agents next year. He's like, Wiley, I ain't you. I ain't a second rounder. I'm undrafted. Got to get my money. Acho said, look, he knows instances like Jeremy Maclin where you go out there and you risk it all, and sometimes you lose. Yeah. But I also know too many cases where you can win it all. Scare money don't make no money. So it's a flawed stat, but it's a reality what Acho's talking about. That in Cleveland, you will not be able to get you probably a greater free agent quarterback.
How is it a flawed stat?
It's a flawed stat because, well, I remember studying this for Kirk Cousins when he was a free agent. A free agent franchise quarterback never hits the market, in part because they always get franchised, or in part because they just get paid. So it's not like you did anything. It's just, we always say that, like there's no free agent franchise quarterbacks. Yeah, because they get taken care of. So, yeah, you can use that to your advantage if you're Baker Mayfield, but let's not run away with that stat because Kirk Cousins was one. We'll see if there will ever be another. Here's my story on Pat. I told Pat not to take the money. He took the money. Gave him a 3-year, $13 million deal, and then we both went into free agency the next year. Mind you, he's already on a 3-year, $13 million deal. Someone who was lesser than him, you're looking at him, the bald one right here, got 6 years, 40. I don't know what Pat would have got, but it wouldn't have been 313. Scare money don't make no money, man. Bet on yourself, Baker.
So here's the thing. I think Baker may be forced to bet on himself because if I'm the Cleveland Browns, I want to drag this out much like the Dallas Cowboys did with the Dak Prescott situation. Because remember, Baker Mayfield still has to play on the 5th-year option, the Cleveland Browns still have the opportunity to put the franchise tag and another franchise tag before then they really have to pony up. So as much as Baker may want to bet on himself, the Cleveland Browns may say, nah, Baker, you are going to bet on yourself because we're not going to pay out until we know for certain that you're the franchise guy, and we feel confident that we're going to have to pay you at a salary that's commensurate with